Welcome back to Sunrise Daily. Mr. Tony Uranta is the spokesperson for PANDEF. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you for having me.
And that's what we're focusing on today, the amendment of the NLNG Act, the controversy surrounding that. Well, the House of Reps have gone ahead and amended that, and I think is it past third reading now? But it's been subject of a lot of discussion. Why is this necessary for them to amend it?
Oh, the original Gas Act preceded the NDDC Act, and that act had certain waivers built in, which allowed the NLNG virtually to operate without any direct contribution to the development of the region, not just the environs of gas processing. And when we say gas processing anyway, remember, everywhere there's oil, there is gas. So NLNG has come up with the defense that since it came into operation, it had helped in cutting down gas flaring by 50%, which is good, which is they didn't do it for any altruistic reasons. It was basically a commercial, it's basically a commercial enterprise. But the point is, when the NDC came into being under President Obasanjo, it was made explicit that every oil and gas entity within the region has a responsibility to contribute statutorily 3% of its proceeds to the funding of the NDDC, as the NDDC being the interventionist body that would know how to now channel such funding to the development of the region.
Which act made it that? The NDDC Act?
The NDDC Act made the 3% statutorily compulsory for all oil and gas organizations, though they tested the fact that the NDDC Act came after the NLNG Act, and the NLNG Act had not had granted the NLNG certain waivers, and of course this went up to the Supreme Court, and by 2011 the Supreme Court ruled in favor of the NLNG. But the bottom line to that meant that the Supreme Court, whilst everybody respects the rule of law, and the fact that having ruled, it was settled in the courts, it did not in any way appease the communities or the regions.
Are you in support of the amendment?
Oh yes, I am. I am personally, and PANDEF is in total support of the amendment. It's necessary. It's long overdue. In fact, left to us, the NLNG, this review that has passed, the bill that has passed in the House, we are calling for the Senate to pass it expeditiously, and for them to pay even as far back as 2009.
Well, that will be derogatory to the operations of the NLNG, as it has repeatedly said that if you amend this act, it's going to hurt the NLNG and it may cease to exist.
I'm from Opobo. Opobo is in the Bonny axis where the NLNG operates. If, for example, the NLNG were blown up tomorrow, does the NLNG have anything? It will go to zero. So why don't we be proactive and accede to the requests of the people of the region, not just Opobo or Bonny, of the region, and walk by the simple process that has been put in place by the act of the NDDC. This is what the House of Reps has done. So we are not saying, okay, we're not going to set aside we can't set aside the Supreme Court ruling, but we can review the act and they have reviewed the act.
If I could jump in there, why is it necessary to go ahead with the amendment if the matter had gone all the way to the Supreme Court in 2011 with that ruling, and then some say this is coming through the back door?
No. What was said in the Supreme Court was explicitly whether the NDDC has a right to ask for funding from the NLNG under the extant laws.
But this amendment now, which they include Section 7, is what they're going to achieve. 3% payment of their total budget to NDDC.
The House of Representatives, the National Assembly, is there to change even the Constitution, if the Constitution is so found to be wanting. Now, the people and the legislators, in their wisdom and the